Hello and welcome everyone to another episode, if you may call this an episode, of my lead code problem solving series. Today we've got a kind of a tricky question. If you're like a pro at solving DSA questions, problem solving questions of lead code, then you might know this question, or else you might have just skipped this one yesterday. Who knows? There is a way to solve this question called Dutch something, Dutch sorting or something specifically made for this question. It's similar to merge sort. If you, I'd advise you guys to learn all the sorting algorithms first before jumping to this question, because I'm going to use a type of sorting algorithm called selection sort, I guess, for this question. Uh, but there's a, which is not the ideal way, but there's a perfectly suited solution of this question. Something called Dutch sort. It was built for this question. I'm not going to use that today, but I'm going to use a approach called selection sort. So what this question just says is there are three integers in an array repeated 0, 1, and 2. You have to arrange them in order. And it is specifically mentioned that you do not have to use the sort function, sort library function, sort array.begin, comma, array.end. You don't have to use that. You should not use that. So I'm going to use selection sort to solve this one. Let's start with the solution then. For okay, um, equals to 0 r less num dot size. What this approach for solving the question does is it finds the minimum element in the array and it continuously compares all the elements, all the rest elements with the minimum element. If I found any element that is less than the minimum element, I'll just reassign the min index variable, right? Now, and what we do at the end is we just swap the minimum element with the element which it is currently iterating with. So we take two elements and compare those, and one of the elements is going to be the minimum element in the array, and then we swap those. Suppose this one was the minimum element, this is the greater one. So we swap those, and then we take another two elements, we swap those. So the array is sorted in ascending order using this approach. There are multiple ways of sorting as well. You can use bubble sort, section sort, selection sort, I it is called. There are multiple ways. If my num of r is greater than my nums of j, I'm sorry, nums of j should be less. We are taking for less than nums of min I input. What we do is min index in DEX is equal to j that way, and then we swap those, right? We swap it outside the inner loop. So we have found the minimum index there. When the inner loop is over, we have found the minimum value in the entire array, and then we swap it with the current going index, nums of I, comma nums of min ind index, right? And the loop continues from I plus 1. The comparing loop continues from I plus 1. So after assembling the minimum index at the front, the outer loop increments and the sorted element is left behind. So we are comparing from the second element onwards now. This is the logic. Let's check the logic. Okay, test case pass was all right. Yeah, if you want to know the constraints, not that big of a deal. Return one pass algorithm using only constant extra space. I think we've used constant extra space, right? We've only used one variable. That is O of 1, if I'm not wrong. And I don't have a lot of idea about the time and space complexity concept, but considering this has worked, I'll say we have solved it appropriate. And I hope you understood the solution, and I'll see you next time. Next time.